Hi, ma'am. Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. Hi.
So, good morning, ma'am. First of all, sorry for the inconvenience caused
Good
because
morning.
I know what.
No problem.
So, yeah. So, I would like to start the meeting by saying that today we have with us Miss Aparna Das, and she is the director of Arunima project, and she is working tremendously towards people with autism. That's why we have her here. Ma'am, I would like to introduce you to our team: Naman Jain, Apoorv Dubey, and Aviral Shukla. We're a team of four students, and we are BTech undergraduates from UPS Dehradun. And right now, we are pursuing
Okay.
our BTech in computer science from the college. And
Mhm.
back then in July, we decided to develop a mobile application for people with autism. It was based on a
Mhm.
project that we presented in hackathon. So it was a part of an event, and from there we decided to extend it to our minor project. We are doing this as a minor project in the college also, and we are planning to take it to a startup level as well. So this interview is for the website purpose. We have a little section known as autistic stories. So that
Mhm.
section would contain the stories of individuals like you who are working for the cause. And so we would pose a set of around 8 to 10 questions to you, which would involve the
Okay.
questions regarding the idea or the belief behind the concept that you're working for, and also the challenges that you face. So the first question that I would like to pose to you, and it's definitely a very interesting question, is that what is the first thing that comes to your mind when I say the word autism? Because according to me, it's it's a very big taboo in not just in India but also in many parts of the world that autism is considered a big taboo. So you being a very influential person in this scenario, this question is, I think that it's perfectly apt for you. That what is the first thing that comes to your mind when I say the word autism?
Okay. So the first thing that comes to mind is communication challenges. People with autism have huge communication challenges, and I think a lot of the other problems stem from that basic issue that people with autism have. And I mean, being in this field, I don't think that people think of it as a taboo because people are now getting to know more about autism. But the
Hmm.
only problem is that they're very frightened when they hear the word because they don't know. It's one of those invisible disabilities. Firstly, right? A person with autism doesn't look different physically from other people, and so and my own family. I remember when we were told that my sister had autism when she was 6 years old, we were very frightened only because we did not know what it was. We did not know what the next step was going to be. So I think it's more that than a taboo, just not knowing enough about it.
Yes,
Yeah.
got it.
Mhm.
So, ma'am, my question is, what inspired you to come up with the idea of Project Arunima?
Okay, so I think I gave you a little bit of a hint a few minutes ago in my previous answer. My sister, whose name is Arunima, has autism,
Oh,
and she is now 40 years old, and she was diagnosed with autism at a time when very few people knew anything about it, especially
hmm.
in India, right? And the struggles that she has been through as an individual with autism, the struggles that her family has been through because of a lack of awareness and lack of proper services. In those years, and services have improved greatly, but still families are struggling a lot. But I think that's what sort of made my mind go in that direction, and eventually did a course in special education. So I'm a special educator as well, and stayed with the field. And there's a hunger for more knowledge in this field because we really don't know enough about autism at all.
Yes, ma'am.
And then beyond that, to develop a residential center, of course, was based very much on her needs, knowing that she would need a place to be safe and secure, a place where she could be safe and secure and continue to grow and be treated with dignity and respect. The way that we have given her that dignity, it's very frightening to think that just because she has a disability, then she will have to end up in an institution where people are not going to treat her even like a human being, which is what we've seen, in
Hmm.
a lot of institutions. So this was basically the inspiration behind Project Arunima, to be able to secure a place for her future and, of course, uh, make it a facility that a lot of other people are going to benefit from.
Okay, ma'am.
Definitely, ma'am.
Uh,
That's a really good
Ma'am,
idea.
Ma'am, as you already said that the people around don't know much about the autism. So, ma'am, how do you differentiate autistic people with normal human beings? Like, how can we differentiate among them?
Okay. So I think one of the first things that will strike you about a person with autism, firstly, let me just clarify, autism is a huge spectrum, right? So, when you think of the word spectrum, I guess you all know a little bit about autism, but when you think of a
Yes, ma'am.
spectrum, I mean, what comes to your mind when you think of a spectrum? What does the word spectrum mean to you?
That basically covering
Ma-
a huge chunk of population, or basically mass, kind of many people, including you.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, one of the, okay, if you think about physics, sorry, huh, I'm the one asking you questions now. If you think about physics, what does spectrum mean in physics?
Ma'am,
Huge range of
spectrum means,
frequency uh, from a huge range of frequency, you can say that.
ma'am, we can
So
say
there's a
like when
range. I
a,
think the key word,
It's a
yeah,
bandwidth,
Range,
yes.
variances, yeah,
yeah. I mean, the key word over here is range, right?
range.
Yes.
And one example when you think of a spectrum is like a rainbow, right?
Yes, ma'am.
It's
Yes.
one color that's broken up into a range of colors. So autism is like that. You know, there's a person with autism who I know, and he's quite famous. His name is Stephen Shore, and he has
Hmm.
high functioning autism. And he says, if you have seen one person with autism, you have seen one person with
One
autism,
person. Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Because it's such a huge range of abilities. Yeah, if you've seen one person, you've just seen one person. You cannot say, okay, this is the typical autistic person. So I cannot, and it would not be right for me to say this is how you can differentiate a person with autism. You know, initially there are some people, you look at them, you look at the way they're moving of their body, you may look at, them flapping their hands or covering their ears or making sounds, and you'll say, yes, this person has autism. Whereas physically his body might seem completely normal.
Hmm.
Another person you see might look so much like everybody else that you are not able to make out that. So for example, the person I'm talking to right now, so he's completely verbal, he can ask me questions, he's very, very handsome, he could be a model somewhere, but then he's 30 years old and he has certain childish behaviors. He doesn't follow social rules. He may interrupt, he may suddenly blurt out his thoughts which may not be appropriate at that point of time. um, he may ask repetitive questions. He may be obsessive about certain things. So, you see different things in different people with autism. So, but definitely people with autism have a harder time fitting in socially. The problem may be very, very obvious, or it may be very, very mild also. Right. And so the typical people with autism have a slightly different way of communicating. They may be very rigid. They may repeat things quite often, and they're quite awkward socially. Yeah.
Hmm.
And I mean, that doesn't mean that they don't want to be friendly. Some of them want to be very friendly, but they don't know how to be very friendly.
mm,
So for example, a very verbal person may suddenly, he's feeling he likes you, and he might come and give you a hug. Now that will be very inappropriate according to social norms, right? So
Hmm.
these are the differences that we see between neurotypical people and autistic people.
I want to ask, how do you deal with all these activities? Like, what different things the kids with autism do, and how do you deal with them?
Okay, so firstly, we work with adults. We don't work with kids. So all the
Okay.
people at Arunima are over 18. So our
Hmm.
age range over here is 22 to 40.
Hmm.
And again, I would say that the program that we have is citizen-centered. So we don't have a fixed curriculum that whoever comes to Arunima has to follow this curriculum. Yes,
Hmm.
there are certain basic things like being able to look after yourself, being able to learn social rules, being able to learn to communicate in the best way possible, since communication is such a challenge for people with autism, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And then being able to learn skills that are going to help you reach as much independence as possible. So that kind of is a very broad idea of what we do. And then we make specific plans according to the individual's level and needs.
Hmm.
Okay.
So, ma'am, as we all know, education is the most priority nowadays, and education is important. So, what methods do you use to educate those people with autism?
What methods do we use? So when you say education, what do you mean by education? I
Ma'am,
mean,
Education,
basically,
basically,
I
like
just
what are
want to
the
understand your question. Yeah.
Like education, anything, any kind of activity that's oriented to the education purpose, like introducing them to the space activities or introducing them to basic mathematics or the language. So what are your methodologies or what are your efforts towards those people that introduce them to these
Mhm.
kind of subjects which are included in the education
Mhm.
oriented area?
Okay. So firstly, remember that we are working with people who are over 18. So they may have already been to special schools. They may have been
Mm-hmm.
through your typical education system, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they've learned whatever they could learn. Some things they've learned very well, some things they have not learned very well, some things they continue to struggle with. Maths may be a huge strength and they may be able to do quicker calculations than anybody else,
Mm-hmm.
even neurotypical people. Or math may be such a problem that they may be 20, 25 years old and they don't understand number symbols. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so there are different kinds of people who come to us. So firstly, we have to figure out, okay, what is the component of education that they're going to be able to use in the future.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what is going to be useful to teach them? If somebody is 22, 23 years old, will it be any use teaching them how to write 1, 2, 3 today? If they haven't got it in all these years, actually, is
Mm-hmm.
there any use, right? However, if that person, if we can say, देखो यहाँ पे 4 लोग बैठे हुए हैं और आप सबको एक एक प्लेट दो, हमको 4 प्लेट्स चाहिए। और अगर
Mm-hmm.
वो 4 प्लेट्स वो देख कर कि 4 लोग बैठे हैं यहाँ पर, वो 4 प्लेट्स उठा के ले आए, that's a functional skill, isn't it? He may not
It
recognize
is.
the number 4, but he's able
Mm-hmm.
to give one plate. So this is what our education is now. It's much more functional, the education that can come to use in daily life. So for example, there are some people over here who are learning how to sort out things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sorting out things would mean, very often when you go to institutions or special schools, you see people sitting and sorting beads or sitting and sorting rajma and chane ki dal. We don't do those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, if you're learning how to sort out things, maybe we've got a bag, somebody's brought a grocery bag that has got beans and green chilies in it, वो सब
Mm-hmm.
mix हो गया है, तो आप प्लीज beans को अलग कर दो और green chilies को अलग कर दो, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that is going to be useful to somebody. So anything that you're doing has to be functional. It has to have serve some purpose in life, right? So there are some people for whom we have activities like that, but everybody has to be sure that whatever they're doing is going to be helping somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or but there are also people that we run a small cafe which we've started about 3 weeks ago, and there are people who are now, because they've learned how to cook, they're also learning how to take orders, how to make bills for people, how to serve people properly, how to hold your body in a particular posture. So that's the kind of education that we do now. It's education for life more than
Mm-hmm.
education sitting at a table and doing paper pencil work.
So it's
There's a
as you said,
wide variety of things that we
yeah.
do. Mhm.
So as you said that it is basically more aligned towards the practical aspect of learning rather than
Yeah,
doing it in the notebooks.
yeah,
So if we
yes,
if we talk
absolutely.
about the notebook thing, if suppose there's a person
Mhm.
X and he or she wants to open a school for kids with autism or adults with autism,
Mhm.
then if that
Mhm.
person decides that he would educate them in the field of it's not necessary that he would give them the basic knowledge of the space and all that, but if he decides to educate them for any purpose, for any subject, so is there any kind of
Mhm.
procedure or is there any kind of body that provides certifications to individuals that gives them the credibility that makes them eligible for being the teacher for people with
Yes,
autism?
yes. Like I mentioned, we have courses in special education, right?
Hmm.
And when I did my diploma in special education, that was in 91, right? But
Hmm.
now so when I did my diploma, it was like a general special education diploma where we learned about all different kinds of disabilities and how to work with people with disabilities. But now you have very specific courses. So you have a course in autism, how to teach people with autism. You have a course for people who have cognitive disabilities.
Hmm.
So how to teach people with general cognitive disabilities, how to teach people or how to work with people who have cerebral palsy. And so then, more of the motor functions are affected. So yes, there are certified courses for that. And you can do your B.Ed in that, you can do an M.Ed in that, you can do a PhD in that. Yeah.
Okay, so
And these
you're saying
courses
that
are offered by a variety of universities. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. That what all are the universities? Are there any
Yeah.
government universities and also, or they are only in the private sector which are offering these kinds of courses?
So there are government. I mean, I'm not going to be able to give you like a list of names offhand,
Mm-hmm.
but I can certainly get them for you. And even the Indira Gandhi Open University provides courses in special education. So there are a number,
Okay, thanks for the knowledge.
Okay.
but there are also many special schools, so organizations that
Mm.
have applied for certification to be able to provide these courses. So a lot of
Mm.
these courses are offered at the organizations that work with people with special needs, and then they train
Mm.
teachers as well. But yes, you get a certification.
Okay.
Ma'am, as you told that parent gets a little bit shocked when they hear the word autism. So, ma'am, how can we bring the
Mhm.
change in the mindset of the people regarding autism?
Mhm. Yeah, it's very difficult. I mean, whenever you hear something that you're not ready for, a lot of after the shock, after the initial shock, a lot of people go into denial that no, this cannot be happening to me. जरूर कुछ
Yes, ma'am.
गलत diagnosis मिला है,
Mm.
and I just need to go to somebody else who will tell me something different.
Mm.
So there's a huge number of people who just go into denial about this and don't want to hear anything else to do with this particular subject, because hearing more about it, learning more about it would mean that you accept that there is something different about your child, right? And so the idea is, initially, I think you just have to be, once you've given the news to a parent that their child has autism, you have to give them space to be able to absorb that information, right?
Mm.
And you almost have to wait for them to come to you. You have to be around so that the moment they come to you and say, okay, now what do I do with this information? You're available to them to say, okay, so these are the different things you can do, right? And so you have to
Yes.
take it as it comes. You can't say, okay, your child has autism, now here are many books and you can read about it,
Mm.
and you will have to do
Yes.
this. You have to take it really slow, because it is, you know something that nobody is prepared for. Nobody knows from the beginning that you're going to have a child with different needs. The moment you hear that you're going to have a child, you start having these images in your head, and the images are all of a normally developing, a typically developing individual, right? People that you've
Yes,
seen
ma'am.
in your life. You're not prepared for this. So yeah, you definitely have to give time, and then there has to be a strong support system around that person, a support system of people who are then going to help them through this journey.
Okay,
Correct.
ma'am. And ma'am, there is one more question, ma'am. That as we know that the autistic schools and the normal kid schools are different. So, ma'am, is there a way to bring a change in the educational institutes to increase the enrollment of autistic kids in those schools where the normal kids studies?
Yeah. So in fact, because of the Right to Education Act, actually all schools are supposed to have a certain percentage of people who are differently abled. Actually,
Mm.
that is
Yes, ma'am.
required by the law.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay. But very often the services that are being provided are just naam ke services. They're not adequate, right?
Mm.
yes, sir.
So more than anything, firstly, the provision is there. The provision is there for people to be integrated into mainstream schools. So I mean, let's also change the terminology that we're using. Let's not say normal school. Because what's
Mm.
normal? Who's to say what is normal,
Mm.
right? If we say mainstream school, mainstream
Yeah,
is what the regular school
mainstream.
is like. So yes, yeah. So you want to include people who are differently abled in mainstream schools as well. That is happening already, but how well are the services being provided? That is a questionable thing. And so there is a lot of need for monitoring of the work that these schools are doing, identified, to properly include people who have different abilities. Does that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am. So these mainstream schools are having the
Yeah.
quotas for especially able children, and they are not
Yes.
actually applying those
Yeah.
quotas.
Yeah, a lot of places are not applying. Sometimes they don't, they kind of say, "Ki, let's just get away with not taking people with special needs." Some people
Mm.
say, we have to take people with special needs, but they're not. There's no point placing a person with special needs in a classroom if you're not going to give them the right kind of support, right?
Yeah.
You might find that your school, your very posh or elite school has not taken in any people with special needs. You haven't been sensitized. You don't know
Mm.
how to interact with a
Yes, ma'am.
person with special needs. But now, because organizations like ours, we are pushing for employment of people with special needs. So you might find that in your office there is a person with special needs, but just because you haven't spent time with a person with special needs in your childhood, you won't know how to interact with that person. It's going to be difficult for you.
Yes, ma'am.
So actually,
Exactly.
these schools and all are missing out on an opportunity to be sensitized right from the beginning,
Mm.
because this is happening. I mean, you may have heard of the Lemon Tree group of hotels where they employ people with special needs. Their Big Bazaar has now started employing people with special needs. A lot of cafes, Cafe Coffee Day and all, they have started
Mm.
employing people with special needs. So people with special needs are going to be in stores, but because you haven't been through an education system that has been inclusive, you will not know how to interact with them. So yeah, no, there's a great need for that. But the idea is, then the government that has made this, that has passed the Right to Education Act, the government actually has to monitor it also, do inspections, make
Yes,
sure
ma'am.
that people are being included in the way that the rule states. So
Sorry.
that's the thing.
So, ma'am, I just want to ask that whether all the people with autism are financially independent, or they need someone for their lifetime for their financial needs.
Again, like I said at the beginning, that people, there's a whole range of people. So yeah, there are some people who are completely independent financially. There
Mm.
definitely are.
Okay.
But there are many people who need lifelong support. So even in Arunima, for example, we have people who live in an independent living setup, and we have people who live in a supported living setup. People who live in an independent living setup, one of our ladies, she's now 39 years old. She's working with a corporate, and this corporate is based in the
Mm.
US. And then they have, what is it called? Um, these companies that are in the US, but they also have like offices in other countries.
MNCs.
I forget.
MNCs.
MNCs. They are multinational. MNCs multinational. I don't know, but there's a particular term for these companies that also have their offices like that do more back end sort of work. So anyway, so there's a particular company in the US, and and then they have an office over here in Dehradun as well. And so she works in the office in Dehradun, and so she's earning a pretty good amount, and she can be financially independent. But on the other hand, because of her issues with social skills, she's a bit naive, right?
Mm.
And
Oh.
she can easily be taken advantage of.
Mm.
And so her parents are much more comfortable that she stays with us because it is a secure place over here,
Mm.
right? So
Yes, ma'am.
that kind of situation also exists. But there are other people with autism who have got married and are living regular lives. They might be a little awkward socially, but this is something that their partner understands and
Mm.
accepts. And maybe there'll be ongoing counseling and guidance provided to the person if the person wants it. We don't have to force it down anybody. And then of
Mm.
course there are people who are going to be completely dependent. So
Mm.
for our friends over here, we call them friends, we don't call them students or inmates or anything like that. So our friends over here, some of them, because they're doing work, they're earning money, but they actually don't understand the meaning of the money that they're earning.
Mm.
They really
Okay.
don't understand it. Okay. So they will need so much support, either their parents or us. We may need to make sure that their money is being saved in a proper way, give them returns. So they'll be completely dependent on us for that. So yeah, there's a whole range of people.
Mm-hmm.
One little question is that as we are working towards developing an application, and as we talked about spectrum and the variation of possibilities, which would
So,
we won't talk about every single detail individually, but what is that
mhm.
one common generic thing that you see in an autism app that must be present there? Definitely, for that would include all the people with autism and benefit them as mass. So, what
Right.
is that one generic thing?
Yeah. Very clear visual. Whatever the visual is should be very, very clear and very easy to understand, right?
Mm.
Because there are lots of things that we assume, but we find that the greatest strength that people with autism have is their visual ability, right?
Mm.
So their visual memory is often very good. You tell them, give them an instruction, and suppose whatever the app is, give them like a speech instruction, like a
Mm.
spoken instruction. That may not be so clear to the person as a visual instruction. Something that is
Mm.
very clear. You look at it and you understand. So it has to be
Mm.
as simple visually as possible in an app.
Okay, thanks. That was a great insight. So these were the questions that we plan to ask you, and basically, just like the spectrum of the autistic people, this was also a little spectrum of questions. We plan to, just cover all the little details, extract from you the great, insights that we can use to develop an application and the website that we're working on. So, any other
Okay.
questions? If any of you need to ask or anything that ma'am that you would like to say, you're welcome to do so.
Mm,
I want to ask you all to tell me a little bit more about the app that you're working towards.
Okay. So, ma'am, our app, it has four major sections. The first section, it consists of the awareness about autism. So it is more of a
Okay.
textual and a pictorial kind of section in which the content would be regularly
Mm-hmm.
updated after the initial release of the application. It consists of all the data,
Mm-hmm.
stats, and figures which are officially released by Autism Speaks and WHO. It consists of all the
Okay.
information, consists of all the the textual stuff basically from it, and what are the exact scenario not only in India but all around the world. And it would also act
Mm-hmm.
as said that those who consider this as a taboo. So this section basically aims to counter the mentality, the considering autism as a taboo and something, and considering people with autism as somebody less. So the
Mm-hmm.
second section is
Mm-hmm.
autistic stories, as I discussed with you. That section would direct the user to our website, and our website would host people,
Mm-hmm.
basically parents or caretakers of the autistic children or the adults, the NGOs, that the people like you who basically need to put up stories. Like you must, we have a little section known as autistic stories, wherein people can go and put up their stories, and it would be followed by a thread of comments right down below. So, like if we have
Mm-hmm.
a
Okay.
story by
Okay.
your foundation, so it would be known as a story by Arunima, and then the story would be followed by the
Mm-hmm.
comments, which would be displayed as threads.
Mm-hmm.
The third section consists of the
Mm-hmm.
animation videos. Those animation videos, this section is majorly designed for the children with autism for less than 18 years of age. And
Mm-hmm.
we plan to introduce the videos like alphabets A to Z, countings from 1 to 100. So these would be, highly visual videos which are designed for them specifically, so that they can get into a routine of just getting up, opening our app, and then going to the third section, and then revising all the alphabets, be it letters, be it about animals, be it about plants, the space stuff, and all of that stuff that basically children are interested in. And the fourth section is about, it includes a quiz which tests the cognitive ability of a particular individual. So that quiz, it would include such certain type of questions which would test about the cognitive strength of the person taking the test. So these are little four sections that we plan to embed in our app. Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. Great. That's really good. So one thing that I just want to say, that when we talk about people who have autism, right? When you talk to people with autism, they say that we don't think of ourselves as suffering. We feel
Hmm.
that autism is a way of being,
Like, yeah.
right? So a lot of people say, I have a child who is suffering from autism. The
Hmm.
moment you use the word suffering, it becomes
Hmm.
a negative term. So
Correct.
I'm just advising you that when you say, okay, people who have autism or people
Yes.
who are on the autism spectrum, if we can say it like that rather than saying suffering from
Suffering
autism.
from autism. Yes, ma'am. Definitely.
We don't say suffering. Don't use the word suffering. Yeah.
okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Take that word back. I'm
All
sorry. I
right.
apologize. Yeah.
Yes.
So that was it, I guess.
No problem. I mean, that's the whole point about awareness raising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank
Okay.
you for joining, ma'am, and it really
Yeah.
brought a
Sure.
meeting a greater value. And I think that your words and your experiences that really count, and that those experiences would definitely make a difference. So thank you, ma'am. It was glad, we all
Sure.
are glad
Thank
having
you.
you here. And
All right.
Thank you, ma'am.
Really,
Yeah.
really
Thank you,
thank
All
ma'am.
the
you.
best.
Thank you.
All the best. Yeah.
thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you.